You shared a story in the book about weren't you like overrun by the NVA? And can
Yeah,
you share that with us?
my job, I had three MOSs, military occupational specialty. I was an infantryman, 0311. I was a machine gunner, which I think was 0341. And I was a clerk typist. I had an 0141.
Oh, wow.
So I wasn't in combat all the time. A lot of times I was behind a typewriter during the day and then,
Hmm.
doing up orders and stuff. And then I would be on patrol at night or perimeter duty, or sometimes we'd be off. But I'm an alcoholic. I
Uh,
get bored pretty easy.
yeah.
And so I would volunteer for stuff and end up running around the middle of the night, shotgun, and got involved in a reaction platoon, which we were supposed to be like there to go out in emergencies, try to
Hmm.
turn the tide type of thing. And
Mm.
yeah, we went out one night and we all knew it was going to be bad. We just, you go on these deals and you just, it's a monsoon, it's pouring buckets. It's like being in a full blast shower with everything on.
Ugh. Yeah.
And it's at night and we knew there was no air support. The helicopters can't fly around like that. No
Mm.
radio because it wasn't going to work anyway. And even if it did, we were going to be. So anyway, we walked all night long, and at daybreak, our mission was to find a plane that had gone down, a C-130, a huge cargo plane. If it hadn't
Hmm.
hit a village and caused fires, we probably wouldn't have never found it. But we walked all night. We found it just before daybreak, and
Mm.
then didn't take very long. We were doing okay until we ran out of ammo.
Oh, no.
Yeah. I had two bullets left. I was always afraid I was a coward, Todd. And I
Mm.
am a coward. I was a coward. I got,
I read that in the book and I really don't see it that way. How do you
most
think
people
that?
don't, but that was anyway. So I'm having a quick debate. I can see five enemy soldiers coming right at me.
Yeah.
And I'm having a debate. We counted down. You always counted your rounds, right? So you know
Mm.
how much you had left. So I knew I only had two bullets left in my last magazine, and I was thinking, okay, I can shoot myself. I knew I couldn't probably stand being a prisoner because we knew what they
Mm.
did, right?
Yeah.
And I'm like,
Mm.
I didn't want to kill myself, so I just stabbed the guy. And when I did, I ended up being covered with his
Mm.
stuff, and then I
Oh.
ran. I ran right straight at him.
Mm.
And I used those last two bullets to save my life, and ended up in the jungle in a river. Anyway, took a few days, nights, but eventually I heard a tank,
Mm.
and I knew that the enemy didn't have any tanks because
Right.
we're in the jungle in northern. I was in I. Anyway, so I guess it's got to be Marines. So I came a few hours later. I bursted out of the bush. I am a total wreck. My
Mm.
clothes are pretty much gone, right?
Mm.
My shoes, my heels were going on my boots. I'm leaving a blood trail. I got my rifle and the bayonet still on the end. That's it.
Mm.
And they almost shot me because the way I came out of the bush, I'm a Marine, don't shoot. A few hours later,
Wow.
I'm in the headquarters battalion of 1st Marine. I'm back at 1st Marine Division, but I'm in this bunker I don't even know existed. And it's a cement bunker buried in the ground. It's full of generals and colonels. And it's like out of a movie. They got maps
Hmm.
on the walls. They got the big topographical layout right in front with where the units are and all that stuff. And this general's asking me all kind of questions. Where were you? Trying to figure out where we were. I don't know where the hell we were. Kind of new. Anyway, and then at the end of it, he's like poking me. He said, Marines never run from the battlefield. You
What?
hear me, mister? And I'm like, oh, and I'm freezing. It's cold. They gave me blankets and a couple sandwiches. Anyway,
Ugh.
I went to the sick bay, fell asleep. Somebody woke me up. It felt like I'd been asleep 10 minutes. I mean, I basically hadn't slept in days, right?
Hmm.
And then sergeant says, you got to go back. So I'm not going
Mm.
back. Well, I went back. And
Mm.
by the time I got there, it was sunny, no more rain, 120 degrees probably, 100% humidity.
Mm-hmm.
I started there. I picked up a shoe, which I shouldn't go into all this detail. Anyway, I picked up the, the sandal of a child. They made their sandals out of tires. I walked away. I walked over to the edge of the village and standing in the shade. And all of a sudden, I was surrounded by all these little kids. And they go, "Mr. Marine, Mr. Marine." I mean, they were crying. I gave them all my water. I gave them all my food, all my candy, everything.
Mm.
Next thing I know, I'm staggering around. I'm like, Rand, you're drunk. When it came to, I was on the USS Repose hospital ship
Mm.
in Da Nang Harbor. And took me a while to figure out where I was and all that kind of stuff. And I did a personal inventory of my body after a while, and I realized I've got tubes in my arms. I must have been totally dehydrated and went into shock.
Gotcha.
So I was
Okay.
in a coma for a few days. And so anyway, I'm trying to figure things out. I can hear this guy in the bed next to me. He's making these really weird noises. And eventually I figured out where I was. I could see doctors and nurses down the bay. This bay was full of wounded Marines that I was in on this
Mm.
ship. And anyway, and we always talked about $1 million wound. And I'm doing a
Mm-hmm.
personal inventory, and I finally realized there's nothing wrong with me. My feet are fine. Well, my feet aren't fine, but my feet are okay. And
Mm-hmm.
went up my body, and I'm like, you don't have $1 million wound. You're not going home.
Mm.
And then I rolled over and looked at the guy in the bed next to me. He was one of my brown brothers,
Mm.
black eyes. His head was totally swaddled in cotton.
Mm.
It looked like a basketball but made out of white cotton. And there's tubes going in, and the bottom of it is full of pink liquid dripping all over the place. And his eyes are looking at me, and I looked at him and I went, "Oh my God, you've got $1 million wound. You're going home." And then
Mm.
he really started, and I rolled back over on my back, and I said, "You idiot! He has no lower jaw.
Oh.
He has no
Oh.
lower jaw."
That's rough.
Yeah. So he had $1 million wound, not because he was going to be really badly disabled. Obviously, I don't know what happened to him, of course. But anyway,
Right.
I was back out in the jungle, and a couple of days later, and I just thought, well, you're just going to have to do what you got to do. At that point, I figured there's no way I was going to make it out alive.
Mm.
That was kind of the mindset most of us got until, and then usually by the time you got the last couple of weeks, you go, damn, I might.
I might make it home.
I might make it home.
Oh.
So anyway, way too much detail there, but
No, that's great.
well, it caused
Great
me
detail.
to have wicked bad nightmares eventually
Mm. I
after
can
I
only
got
imagine.
home. Yeah, I had
Yeah.
bad nightmares of that. I fallen out of a helicopter. I actually did fall out of a helicopter, but landed on the skid. So I had these dream nightmares where I would either be falling out of a helicopter and then I didn't land on the skid, or I had been disemboweled in my bed at home.
Mm.
And usually my bed smelled, I could smell the gunpowder
Mm.
and the manure. And then my wife would throw the light on and I'd be covered with sweat instead of blood. And then I would realize, but the bed was full of manure because I had voided myself. And
Oh.
the first time that happened, my wife looked at me and we both knew. Because, see, up to that point, I thought I was all right. I had come home,
Yeah.
got married, had kids, went to college, got a degree, became a lawyer, all that good stuff. But right after a couple of years, all of a sudden I started having those nightmares, and there was no treatment those days.